Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Ripe for Reissue. And the Ripe for Reissue number is this thing, Colin Davis's famous Stravinsky early ballet twofer on Philips. I mean, this was Philips' great recordings, 50 Philips 50 twofer series. You know, and if it's one of their great recordings, if it was their great recordings then, why isn't it one of their great recordings now? That's what I want to know. Of course, Philips no longer exists. It's now Decca, and God knows Decca has enough recordings of these ballets. But you've got the Rite of Spring, Petrushka, the 1947 version, and the complete Firebird, along with, as a special bonus, a marvelous performance with the London Symphony of Orpheus, which I adore. I mean, it's a gorgeous piece. This is one of its best recordings, although the Concertgebouw's done it a couple of times now. They did it with Nimi Yarvi, I think. Did they do it with Shai? I don't know. Maybe. They've done it, and they do it beautifully. The bottom line is, these are not the most precise or the most perfect recordings of these ballets. They are quirky. They have their interesting moments, shall we say. The Rite of Spring has an original ending that I don't think anybody else has ever done before. I'm not sure where Colin Davis found it. It sounds like one of the earlier unrevised endings that Stravinsky used. The Petrushka is, I think, just beautiful to listen to. Really, really lovely to listen to. It has weird drum interludes, you know, with the drums going chicka 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 chicka. There are things here that are, like I said, they're just a little bit quirky. You might call them a little bit off. I think they give the performances personality, in my view. And the Firebird is pretty splendid. It's a dark, brooding, a little bit rhythmically, it could be perhaps a little bit more peppy here and there. But wow, you know, you've got this great orchestra, and they're playing absolutely fabulously. The solo winds are amazing. The opening of the Rite of Spring with the bassoon and all the winds quirking in, it's so delightful. The sacrificial dance is aptly sacrificial. It's exciting. You really have a feeling that there's an orchestra with its own personality and a conductor with a vision of how the music's supposed to go, and they're doing their thing. So, you know, I keep coming back to these performances because although I have other versions of all of these works that I think are perhaps more exciting, maybe more powerful, there's something here, something really deeply characterful in these performances, and they don't deserve to like disappear into like the ether, you know, for all time, especially now that Decca owns Philips. I don't know what's going to happen to all the Colin Davis Decca recordings. And there were some marvelous ones. There were also some duds. Let's not forget. But, you know, there's that great set of Haydn London symphonies, also with the Concertgebouw. He did an absolutely atrocious Tchaikovsky disc in the early days of digital. I don't know how many of you remember that. There was also a Pictures in an Exhibition. They were the most awful sounding digital recordings I've ever heard in my life. Philips, at the beginning of the digital period, made absolutely the most terrible recordings ever. And it was all the more depressing because they had mastered the acoustic of the Concertgebouw, and they made amazing analog recordings there once they figured out how to put bass into the recordings. You know, the 1970s and that whole period, when these came out, they're some of the best sounding records that Philips made in the Concertgebouw, and they were soon to just go to hell in the early digital period. Then things got better again. I mean, you know, they figured it out. Everybody figured out how to use the technology appropriately. But there's a legacy of some really, really first-class performances. And I don't know what's going to happen with Colin Davis's Philips legacy. I really don't. I mean, there's all the Tippett stuff. There's, you know, not with the Concertgebouw, but with the London Symphony and other orchestras. I wonder. And I saw this the other day. I was just going through stuff, and here it was. Actually, it was back here. It was right there. Right here in this like little slot. There it goes. It goes right there. See, that's where it goes. Here it is. I'm going to stick it right back there. I kept it there because, first of all, it didn't fit my regular Stravinsky thing, but also because it just really spoke to me. And it still does. And I was playing it just now and I'm thinking, oh, wow. Doesn't this sound like unlike any other performances, but in a good way? It's not perverse. It isn't kinky. It's not gratuitous. It's always musical, and it's special. And these special performances, they really deserve to stay in print for a while so that other people can hear them too. Maybe somebody like Cyrus at Australian Eloquence can do a Colin Davis Phillips set or something like that. That would be exciting. I mean, there was a Colin Davis box, which has vanished into thin air, of course. And I think that these are powerful and impressive and really distinctive performances that people who love the music should have the opportunity to hear. I mean, that's all. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.